What's up and welcome back to the Metalhead Car Show. It's really fun to watch Judas Priest build set lists on these past couple tours. They've shown no fear in pulling songs out of the archives they've never played before, or it's been 40 years since they've played live. So Judas Priest wrapping up 2022 and could be hitting the road with Ozzy Osbourne in 2023. I wanted to go over some songs they've yet to play on this tour that'd be really cool to see pulled out for this 50th anniversary tour. So no real order, let's get right into it. Starting with Ram It Down. Ram It Down hasn't been played since the Painkiller tour, and truthfully, the Ram It Down album's been kind of ignored over the past couple decades. They've been really good about playing Blood Red Skies ever since 2011, but they've yet to really explore that album since then. I think Ram It Down is one of the coolest, most underappreciated Judas Priest songs ever written, and I think that's one of the coolest guitar solos ever written. But as phenomenal as Richie Faulkner is on guitar, I think that solo might be the one thing to make it not be played, just due to you need two guitarists going kind of back and forth on it to make it what it is. And whilst they just have him, I don't see it happening. But if they were to bring KK back to the band, maybe it'll be a different story. Next up, Nostradamus. So the song Nostradamus has never been played, and the Nostradamus album is probably one of the most controversial Judas Priest albums ever made. I believe Nostradamus is actually a really cool album, but I am totally in the minority for that. But nonetheless, with this tour, I think it'd be really, really cool to touch base on that album and pull some songs out that they've never played off it. Nostradamus being a great pick. Next off the Turbo album, goddamn, we're starting the fan favorites on this one. All Fired Up. All Fired Up was one of the B-sides on the Turbo album. It's never been played live, and when they did the re-release for Turbo back in 2016, it was actually removed off the album. Which I think is a great shame, as I think All Fired Up is one of the most fun and high-energy songs on the Turbo album, and it's an absolute shame it's never been played live. I think now's the time. Next up, Isles of Domination. So Isles of Domination is off the Sad Wings of Destiny album. It was played live when it was new a handful of times, but it's been dropped ever since then. It is a huge rarity. It's a really, really awesome song that has some really heavy parts in it. And if Judas Priest is going to pull songs like Rockarola and Genocide out, I think Isles of Domination make a great addition to the set list. Next up, Battle Cry. So a little story on this one. Back in 2014, when Judas Priest released the Redeemer of Souls album, they announced the tour shortly after that. And they asked people what new songs they want to hear. So I commented Battle Cry along with many other people. After that, I drove to Rochester, New York to see the first show of the whole tour, and they start with Battle Cry. I shit my pants because, oh my god, the song I want to hear is being played. And then the curtain drops, and they play Dragonaut. How dare you toy with my emotions like this, Priest? This song reminds me a lot of like One Shot at Glory. Just that really awesome song at the end of the album that just kind of got forgotten about. I hope it's not 30, 40 years until we hear the song live. And I think it'd make a great addition to the set list, much like everything else in this list. Up next, Heavy Duty and Defenders of the Faith. I always thought this song would just be a brilliant way to kind of end off a main set or close the show with even. It really gets the crowd engaged. It's really kind of callback song. It's not fast, it's heavy, very drum intensive, and just kind of very cool.
From the heart, everybody.
I don't think Priest played Heavy Duty since 1984-ish, but back in 2014, they actually pulled out Defenders of the Faith to close the show off with. It was actually working really well. So I think with that, it would actually be a really cool thing to kind of bring back and throw towards the end of the set. Next up, Hell Rider. So Hell Rider came out on the Angel of Retribution album back in 2005. They haven't really been playing a whole lot from that album apart from Judas Rising here and there. But seeing as though they're cool going back to that album, I think this would be an awesome one to pull out. Super heavy, high energy, and from everyone I've kind of asked about it, a lot of people seem to be into this song. So I believe making a quick swap of Judas Rising for Hell Rider would be a really easy way to do it, and something I would personally love to see. Next up, literally anything from the Ripper Owens era. It's a burning hell! So Judas Priest has really kind of ignored the Ripper Owens era, which is really kind of unfortunate, because the albums are actually pretty awesome. There's nothing wrong with them. And since they've done the 50th anniversary tour and the Epitaph tour back in 2011, 2012, where they said they would acknowledge every single Judas Priest album, they haven't. Jugulator and Demolition are also the only Judas Priest albums you can't find on like Spotify or any of the streaming services, which kind of just furthered the point of they're ignoring these albums. And with Rob Halford saying he'd be up for doing some of these songs, and Judas Priest doing reissues of the Jugulator t-shirt, I don't think there's any reasoning why they shouldn't be playing it at this point. So I think it's time one of those songs comes back out. I'm not saying they need to bring out a pile, just one. Just acknowledge the era and just play one. Doesn't matter which one it is. Next up, Let Us Pray, Call the Priest. So this one's off Sin After Sin, and it is an absolute hoot and a half. I'm pretty sure this one's a cover song, but seeing as though it's just so much fun, and it hasn't been played since the 70s, now is the time. Let's do it. That song has like one of the most fun guitar riffs I've ever heard off really any Judas Priest or the bulk of Judas Priest songs. And I think this would be one of those songs where if Judas Priest actually pulled it out, they'd throw everyone off guard. Nobody would see it coming. It'd be really cool to see in the set. Last on the list, Dreamer Deceiver off Sad Wings of Destiny. Played since the 70s. There is some live audio and live footage out there, but it is a rarity. I think it'd be kind of cool to see in the set list because it's not the most high energy song, but it's just kind of really cool. It has some good melodies to it. And if they're willing to pull out some of these super rarities, then why not? Now's the time before we totally run out of time. So that's 10 songs I'd love to see appear on Judas Priest's 50th anniversary tour. If I had to rework the set list to incorporate these songs, here's what it would look like. I'd like to know, what songs would you like to see pulled out on this tour? Let me know in the comments. Thank you all so much for watching. Like and subscribe if you've enjoyed what you've seen. I post on Instagram and occasionally TikTok, and I'll see you later.